You ever watch a cartoon and there's a moment in it where it's like a character is conflicted on what to do, and then there's like an angel version and a devil version of that character that pops up on their shoulder, and the devil is like convincing the character to do the thing, encouraging the character, whatever, and the angel's like, no, don't do the thing, it's not worth it, it's not the right thing to do. Yeah, that's kind of how I felt when it came to this movie. The second smartest thing I could have done with this movie was make a video on it after it had all of its attention taken away by the Minecraft movie. The smartest thing I could have done with this movie was stay completely silent towards it and not acknowledge it. And that's what I did initially. I am making this video a while after the movie had come out, but I don't care. I watched this movie shortly after it came out. Don't worry, I sailed the 7 seas for it, okay? I have standards, damn it. And while I was watching it, I had already planned out what I wanted to do with this movie. I was very well aware of the highly controversial nature of this movie, and I decided, you know what? Nah, I don't feel like going down that rabbit hole for a multitude of reasons. I'll get into it, I promise you. I watched the movie, and then that's it. My idea was, I watch it, and then I just never acknowledge it ever again. I don't make it public, the fact that I watched this movie. The idea was that I would deliberately stay silent about this movie. Hope that there would be enough bad movies that would come out in 2025 so that I wouldn't have to talk about it when the time comes for the worst movies of 2025 video. Just stay completely silent towards this movie and not acknowledge it. At some point, I even went as far as to record a video where I would talk about why I wasn't going to review the Snow White remake. And then I ended up scrapping that video as I felt like that was just a headache in of itself. I feel like it is impossible for me to talk about this movie without getting a headache talking about it. And while watching the movie, I was surprised by the highly controversial nature of it, given the fact that ultimately this movie is just really fucking boring. This movie reminds me of Emilia Perez in that sense, where it's a highly controversial movie, and then like you watch the movie itself and you're expecting something offensively awful just looking at how many controversies there are surrounding the movie. And what you end up getting is one of the most boring fucking movies you've ever seen in your life. I'm disabling the comments for this video because I know for a fact none of y'all are gonna behave, okay? I'm sorry, I'm not taking that risk at all. I'm not taking that risk. I was hesitant on making a video on this movie for 2 reasons. Number 1, this movie is boring as hell, and it gives me almost no material to work with when it came to what could I say about the movie. The movie is bad, don't get me wrong, but there is nothing that I could say about this movie that I couldn't say for any other live-action Disney remake. A few years ago, I made a video talking about the live-action Little Mermaid remake, and I don't like how that video turned out, because the movie gave me nothing to talk about, because once again, it was really and boring. I included Mufasa, the Lion King, in my worst movies of 2024 list, which I know that's not a remake, but you know, it still counts. It's still adjacent to that whole thing. And I struggled trying to think of reasons as to why it was bad, because most of the problems that I had with Mufasa just boiled down to it's boring, and that's it. And then watching Snow White, it's like, yeah, this movie is significantly more controversial than all of the other remakes, but that doesn't matter because the movie is probably just as boring. And indeed, the movie was boring. This movie doesn't give me enough things to talk about in regards to why it's bad. Yeah, I know. Rachel Zegler, who plays the titular Snow White in this movie, criticized the original Snow White in an interview a few years ago. And I hate to break it to y'all, but I really don't give a shit about whatever she said about the original movie. Because number 1, I've never even seen the original Snow White. I have no personal attachment to the original Snow White. I know it's historically important, but I've never seen it, and I have no personal connection to it, so I can't defend it. I can't be all ride or die for it. And number two, I've essentially spent most of my YouTube career doing the exact same thing Rachel Zegler has done, except instead of just one Disney movie, it's a whole lot of other Disney movies. Back in 2023, I was in this heavy anti-Disney phase, which I'm really embarrassed about in retrospect. I mean, yes, Disney is bad. There are genuine reasons to not like Disney, but I feel like I went a little bit too far when it came to my criticisms towards Disney, and oftentimes I found myself criticizing their older work from when they were good. I'm pretty sure on record I've gone on before about how I don't like the Disney Renaissance or whatever, and I somehow got away with it. I made an entire video that just boils down to I don't like the Disney Renaissance, and I got zero backlash for it, zero controversy, nothing like that. I remember coming across like someone who made like a response video criticizing this video that I made, but that's about it. And really, I don't blame them for making that video. I don't blame them for criticizing this video. I think it's f***ing trash in retrospect. I made a video on a really shitty cartoon that has nothing to do with Disney at all, and I spent a good 20 or so minutes of that review just randomly talking about the Disney Renaissance and how I didn't like it and whatever, for no fucking reason at all. It's so stupid, and it had nothing to do with the rest of the video, and people were just fine with it for some reason. And only now do I look at it and I think, well, what the am I doing that's different? Why is it okay when I criticize old Disney movies, but it's not okay when Rachel Zegler does it? Especially considering the fact that, number one, Rachel Zegler only criticized one Disney movie, while I've criticized probably all of them. I know damn well Walt himself hates me, and I don't blame him, man. I really don't blame him. If I was the most important person in animation history, and there was just some random kid on the internet who devoted his entire career to talking trash about me and my work for no reason, yeah, I'd be pretty pissed off as well. I don't blame him whatsoever. I don't blame him. And number two, Rachel Zegler at least had a reason to dislike the original Snow White. I believe she claimed that like it was outdated or something like that, which, I mean, the movie came out in the in 1930s, so I don't doubt the possibility that, yeah, it might have a few poorly aged things in it. I don't doubt that. But whether you think it's a good reason or not, it ultimately doesn't matter, because at least she had a reason. Whereas whenever I criticized an old Disney movie in the past, it would just be for no reason at all. I'm sure at some point there was a reason as to why I did it, but that reason has been long lost on me. Sometimes I have this like weird thing where it's like, I don't know if I'm being genuine with the stuff that I'm saying, or if I'm just being like an edgy contrarian or something like that. But regardless, one day the realization came to me, the reality snapped back in, and I realized, you know what, maybe saying that The Little Mermaid sucks isn't really all that fun to do. It's kind of boring actually to do that, regardless of if I'm being sincere or if I'm just being an edgy contrarian. You know, it's kind of stale to say that The Lion King sucks. Oh god, you know what, this just reminded me of something. I remember when I was a kid, this was like a really long time ago, this has nothing to do with the rest of the video, but I don't care, I'm bringing it up anyways. A long time ago, around like at least 10 years ago, over 10 years ago, I remember as a kid, I stumbled upon this like YouTuber who made like 3 videos talking about why he thought The Lion King was a bad movie. And these were like proper like actual reviews. This wasn't like some stupid Go Animate kid or whatever, some like low effort video made in 2 seconds. No, these were like actual like reviews. And because I was a really stupid kid at the time, I looked at these videos and I thought, no, you can't say that. You can't say Lion King is bad. It's one of the best movies ever made. How dare you? I don't know, I just randomly remembered that out of nowhere, and I figured, you know what, I might as well share that story with the rest of y'all. I don't know who the hell this channel was, but I hope they're doing good today, wherever they may be. I can't really hate on Rachel Zegler for criticizing the original Snow White when I've done essentially the exact same thing before in the past, you know? It just doesn't feel right. Regardless of however I may feel about Rachel Zegler and her comments towards the original movie, I do not support nor condone bullying and harassing her just because she doesn't like a really an old movie from the 1930s. I do not support that at all. I do not condone that. Disagreeing with her is one thing, but going out of your way to like bully and harass her is a whole nother thing. All of this over a movie. Like, calm down, bro. It's not that serious. Oh yeah, and Gal Gadot is in this movie, and she plays the evil queen. And I've seen a lot of people say, like, her acting is really bad. I don't know if it's just because she's a person or if she's like genuinely bad at acting in this movie. I wasn't paying attention, to be honest, because this movie was really boring. This movie is a musical, obviously. Why would it not be a musical? The songs are whatever. I really don't care about them. I'm like I've made that very clear before in the past that like I don't care about musicals at all. Every time a song came on in this movie, that was my cue to turn the movie into background noise. That was my cue to stop paying attention to whatever was going on in the movie. The moment a song came on, I was like, alright, yep, it's time to play Sonic Generations while this scene goes by. Gotta play peak gaming to make this more tolerable. And then I would switch off the game as soon as the musical number ended. Unfortunately, even with peak gaming acting as a distraction, I still had to be exposed to the songs, as otherwise I would have no idea when the songs would end. Perhaps the only real thing I can criticize about this movie, besides the fact that it's boring, are... Yep, let's get the elephant in the room out of the way, folks. The dwarves. What in the name of God are these fucking designs? Jesus Christ, man. What is this like Polar Express looking CGI? Bro, Polar Express came out in 2004. This movie came out in the big 25. There's a 20-year gap between the Polar Express coming out in late 2004 and this coming out in early 2025, and yet somehow this has CGI that is on par with the Polar Express, bro. Imagine going back in time to when the first Minecraft movie trailer dropped and telling people that somehow no, this wasn't going to be the ugliest movie of 2025. Nobody would believe you. Nobody would believe you at all. I mean, I get it. I kinda understand why the dwarves are CGI, as stupid of a reason as it may be. So I believe around the time when this movie was first announced, Peter Dinklage, an actor that's famous for having dwarvism, claimed something along the lines of like, it would be disrespectful to have people that actually have dwarvism play the dwarves in this movie. You know, people that have dwarvism are real people and not fantastical creatures or anything like that. Keep in mind, as far as I'm aware, Peter Dinklage is the only actor with dwarvism that managed to make it big. There are probably tons of aspiring actors that have dwarvism that have a hard time getting into movies because of the fact that they have dwarvism, and so they have this opportunity to make it big, or to at least be seen, to be represented in a movie, to have other people with dwarvism watch the movie and feel seen, feel represented, and then nope, that ended up not happening at all. Here we got these in CGI monstrosities over here. How does this movie fare when compared to the other live-action Disney remakes? I can't tell you. They're all seemingly just kind of bad for the same reasons. How does this compare specifically to Little Mermaid 2023? I'd say it's worse, to be honest. I mean, on the one hand, Little Mermaid 2023 has that crime against humanity song in it from Aquafina, but then on the other hand, this movie has these things in it, so I'm not sure. But then on the other hand, that one crime against humanity song from Aquafina in the Little Mermaid remake only lasts like 2 or 3 minutes in the movie. The movie's like an hour and 50 minutes long or something like that. And the movie isn't good, but it's just boring at worst. Whereas these monstrosities, you gotta see them for a good portion of the film's runtime. So I suppose, yeah, maybe this movie is worse than The Little Mermaid 2023. But really, I couldn't tell you at all, because most of these remakes are just bad, and they're all just like, they're bad for mostly the same reasons. Besides the ugly dwarves and the millions of controversies surrounding this movie, there's like nothing to really make this movie stand out from the other live-action Disney remakes in terms of just looking at the movie itself. Completely separating this movie from its many controversies. There's nothing new or different to say about this movie that couldn't be said for any of the other live-action remakes, besides the dwarves being really ugly. I hesitated to make a video on this movie for two reasons. Number one, this movie was boring, and I felt like there probably wasn't enough material for me to make a good video on this movie. And number two, I really genuinely did not want to deal with like the anti-woke people that hate this movie because it's woke or whatever. I gotta be real, I'm only really making this video just because of the money, just because I know like, yeah, this is a trendy topic, controversial and whatever. I just start recording, I say what people want to hear me say, or at least as much of what people want to hear me say as possible, because I'm not anti-woke and you know, there isn't really much to criticize about this movie. At first I debated with myself on whether I wanted to make a video on this movie just because of the money. Like, I knew damn well this could probably be like a big video, and just like that I'd be swimming in that cash money, you know, talking about this stupid thing. And then on the other hand, there was another part of me that thought, nah, the money wasn't worth it, because there was a very real chance that by making this video I would end up attracting an anti-woke audience. I would end up attracting an audience of people that don't like the movie for anti-woke reasons. And in this damn day and age, that is the last thing that I want right now. The money is not worth it at all if I also end up attracting an audience of people that I do not want to be associated with under any circumstances. And then alas, greed got the best of me, just like that. And now here I am talking about this stupid movie that like I barely even remember what happens in it. I've said this before, but I'm gonna say it again. The smartest thing I could have done with this movie was stay completely silent about it and not make a video on it. The second smartest thing I could have done with this movie was talk about it after it had all of its attention taken away by the Minecraft movie. This movie flopping at the box office is not really surprising in the slightest, honestly. But I sure as hell was not expecting Minecraft to be significantly more successful critically and commercially. Well, okay, maybe not significantly better critically, but definitely significantly better commercially. Regardless of how the Minecraft movie would have turned out in relation to Snow White, it could have been better than Snow White. It could have been worse than Snow White. It didn't matter. One thing was for sure. It would have been a far more interesting movie to talk about than Snow White. And indeed, it was. It was a far more interesting movie to talk about than Snow White. God, I cannot imagine, like, it's so funny, the idea that, like, these movies were released only 2 weeks apart. Could you imagine how fucking insane it would have been if both of these movies came out on the same day? It would have been like Barbenheimer, except both movies are bad. Oh wait, I forgot. Okay, so apparently Disney was going to make a live-action remake of Tangled, but then after they saw how badly this movie performed, they decided to put this Tangled remake on hiatus. They shelved it temporarily. I know for a fact that they're going to immediately unshelve it the moment Lilo and Stitch comes out and becomes a massively successful movie, making people forget about Snow White. I've seen a lot of people say that Lilo and Stitch will be a successful movie and the live-action Disney remake stuff will continue. The massive backlash against the Snow White remake, both justified and stupid, combined with the movie's poor box office performance, would unfortunately not be enough to stop the live-action Disney remakes, as the Lilo and Stitch remake has a lot of things going for it compared to the Snow White remake. It has a lot of advantages. Number one, there are zero controversies surrounding the Lilo and Stitch remake, besides the default live-action Disney remake bad stuff, which even people that are against these remakes have expressed interest in this movie. I have seen people that say they hate the live-action Disney remakes, but they're willing to give this movie a chance because somehow, believe it or not, this movie doesn't look as bad as the other live-action Disney remakes. I'm not saying this movie is gonna be good, but I could see this being not as bad as some of the other live-action Disney remakes. Number two, this is a remake of a movie from from the early 2000s, and so unlike Snow White, it will have more of an appeal towards millennials and Gen Z compared to Snow White. Snow White, as mentioned before countless times, is a remake of a really an old movie from the 1930s. And so Lilo and Stitch has that nostalgia advantage to it. More people would want to see Lilo and Stitch because of the nostalgia they have for the original movie. I'm not saying that millennials and Gen Z didn't grow up with the original Snow White, but I doubt many of them grew up with it when compared to like the Disney Renaissance or Frozen or whatever, like any of the movies they put out in the 90s, 2000s, and 2010s. And number 3, I'm sorry, I gotta admit it, the design for Stitch is really adorable. I'm sorry. Listen, they could have very easily f***ed up Stitch's design in the same way they f***ed up Timon and Pumbaa, in the same way they f***ed up Sebastian and Flounder, in the same way they f***ed up these monstrosities. They could have very easily done it with Stitch, but they chose not to. They managed to successfully translate Stitch into a live-action setting. They add this more photorealistic feel to him, but he still retains a lot of the cartooniness that he had in the original movie. And given how beloved of a character Stitch is, and how admittedly adorable he looks in this new movie, it will likely generate a lot of money for this movie's box office, for better or worse. And it would be enough to make people forget about these fucking monstrosities. Jesus Christ, man, I'm sorry, I gotta go on a tangent. When the first trailer for the Minecraft movie came out, people were like, we should give this the ugly Sonic treatment. When the first teaser for Shrek 5 came out, people were like, we should give this the ugly Sonic treatment. How come I never once saw anyone, I repeat, anyone suggest that this movie should get the ugly Sonic treatment, even though it is far more deserving of the ugly Sonic treatment than the Minecraft movie or Shrek 5. Y'all were too busy focusing on this fucking girl not liking some old movie to notice that the real problem was in front of our faces the whole time, and that's how we got into this mess. Jesus Christ, man. Welcome back, Cats 2019. I'm sorry, but like, y'all gotta take the L for this. Y'all allowed for this to happen, okay? This is blood on your hands, partially. I mean, listen, Disney isn't getting away with this scot-free either, okay? Both of y'all are sharing the L. Disney could have very easily ignored Peter Dinklage's comments and just casted people that actually have dwarvism to play the dwarves. But instead, they chose to make the dwarves CGI, really f***ing ugly CGI at that, and none of y'all did anything about it. None of y'all gave this movie the ugly Sonic treatment that it very much deserves to have. I mean, listen, it's not like the movie would be any better. It's not like the movie would be automatically good now all of a sudden if the dwarves were visually appealing or if they had people that actually have dwarvism play the dwarves. At most, it would make the movie like 2% better, and that's it. But at least it would be something a little bit better than what we ended up getting. You look at these creatures and it's like, yeah, it's no surprise this movie is doing awful at the box office. Did I mention this movie has a really huge budget of like 250 something million dollars, I think? I'm not sure. And right now, this movie hasn't even made $200 million at the box office. They expected this thing to be like a massive billion-dollar movie. This would have to make like $500-600 million in order to break even, and that is obviously not gonna happen. The many controversies surrounding this movie, the fact that the movie is genuinely bad, the fact that people don't care about Snow White in the same way they care about Aladdin or The Lion King or like any of the Renaissance era movies, those were successful because people have nostalgia for the original animated movies, whereas I doubt there are that many people that have nostalgia for Snow White. More specifically, I doubt there are that many people that have nostalgia for Snow White that are still alive. And as we would find out 2 weeks after the release of this movie, the children were indeed yearning for the mines. The fact that the Minecraft movie made more money on its opening weekend than Snow White has made so far in its lifetime is nothing short of insane to me. But I mean, listen, the Minecraft movie, unironically better. I'm not even saying that because haha, Flint and Steel, chicken jockey, whatever. No, the Minecraft movie, unironically better than Snow White. I don't care. It's so crazy to me how if both of these movies had come out in 2024 instead of 2025, or if 2025 had turned out differently, I would have been very different towards both of these movies. I would be a lot more negative towards the Minecraft movie, and I would feel more comfortable talking about why the Snow White remake is a bad movie. Bro, this movie was supposed to come out in March of 2024. You know what else was originally supposed to come out in March of 2024? Beyond the Spider-Verse. Could you imagine what that universe would have looked like? Right now, we're laughing at the fact that this funny bad movie is destroying Snow White, but could you imagine that alternate universe where this inevitable masterpiece instead destroyed Snow White? That would have been a beautiful sight to see, I'm not even gonna lie. The bottom line is the Snow White remake is bad and I don't like it, but I don't think it's gonna matter because again, Lilo and Stitch is gonna come and it's gonna make $1 billion because of the aforementioned advantages that it has. And then next year in 2026 we have the live action Moana remake coming out, and again, it's very debatable the fact that they're making this movie, but that will not stop people from seeing it. Moana 2 was mid as hell, it still made $1 billion. If that can make $1 billion, then so will this live action Moana remake. I'm sorry. Don't be surprised if after the success of the Lilo and Stitch remake, they end up unshelving the Tangled remake. Don't be surprised at all. This movie flopping hard will not change anything, unfortunately. It's like that scene in SpongeBob where he's destroying Squidward's alarm clock and then Squidward opens up his closet and he has like hundreds of spare alarm clocks in it. That's exactly what this is like. At the same time though, I am strangely optimistic that the Lilo and Stitch remake will not be that bad when compared to the other live action remakes. I'm sorry, but Stitch's design is too cute for me to hate this movie. Even if this movie ends up being not good. I gotta be honest, I'm just glad this movie finally came out and will likely be forgotten about before you know it, because that means that finally the annoying anti-woke discourse surrounding this movie will shut up eventually. Anyways, that's about it. If you enjoyed this video, then be sure to like, and if you're new to the channel, maybe consider subscribing as it would be greatly appreciated. Thank you everyone for watching this video, and I will see y'all next time. Adios.